Hello and welcome to the NC podcast. My name is Natasha Collins and I am the founder of NC Real Estate, which includes its members club for property investors to come and build a profitable property portfolio that completely aligns with their goals. How are you doing this week? How was your bank holiday? Actually, this is coming out a week after the bank holiday, but I'm recording on the Wednesday, 2 days after bank holiday weekend. I am feeling pretty refreshed. I've been on annual leave from the university, although I was in yesterday just to do a little bit more marking for my master's students and get that finished because they submitted their assessments 3 weeks ago. So I need to make sure that they go back out on time. And oh my gosh, big news, guys. I finished my teaching qualification. I saw yesterday in my university inbox that the final little pieces that I needed to complete the final assessment had come in. I was like, right, Collins, sit here, do your assessment, get it done, hand it in, and just do not think about it anymore. So I am so excited, so glad that that is over because it was just one thing that was weighing on my mind. I know I spoke about it in a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, done is better than perfect. Hell yes, in this case. Done, fine, hand it in. Beautiful. I must admit, I've got to a point where I'm doing academic research, and as much as you're meant to be using textbooks from other academics and looking at their writing and journals that they've published, I'm going to be honest and say that now my source of referencing usually comes from people on Instagram who have got interesting topics or blog posts or other online things that I'm seeing. And for a bit, I'd kind of felt a little bit kind of like, am I meant to be doing this? Is this professional enough? But I thought, hey, this is where the sources of information come from nowadays. This is where I get my learning from. And actually, it's where my eyes are opened the widest to things that I need to take in when I'm addressing other people for measures of inclusivity online, because I teach for an online university. So knowing how to network with people online is huge for me, being able to include all of my students in what I'm doing. And so when I was writing this final assignment and being reflective in how I teach as an online lecturer, I thought, actually, do you know what? Everything that I've learned hasn't come from the degrees that I've done in the past. It's come from the fact that I'm online all of the time for every single thing I do and all of the businesses that I run. And so from there, I was like, I'm taking that knowledge that people that I follow online have told me, from the conversations that go on underneath their Instagram posts, from YouTube videos that I watch, for people that, and I'm referencing that now. So I handed in an assignment which has a lot of YouTube and Instagram references in it because I think that's valid nowadays. So, hey, whatever mark I get, done is better than perfect. But for me, that's where I learn the most from. I'm always on social media flicking through things. I've been trying over the last week not to get so heavily involved in discussions because I do actually have needed to remove myself and go, Natasha, just do a bit more work. And I find that I can be on social media comparing myself to other people, thinking, wow, I'm not involved in this. I've been left out of this, or I'm seeing other people do X, Y, and Z. Oh, social media can also drag you down a rabbit hole. So I watch from afar most of the time, and my friends will know on Instagram, I do see their posts and I happily WhatsApp them and say, oh my gosh, cool post, or I love your baby, it's looking so beautiful, or just really nice comments that I've seen their Instagram stories and I'm really aware of it. I don't put anything normally in comment sections or in reply to Instagram stories. So if you do think that, if you know that I follow you but I've never said anything, I do take note. I just try not to get too involved in discussions because I need to be on and off, but I like seeing what people are doing. So that's a little bit of an aside, but I'm so glad that is over. Whew. And I'm going to touch wood, but I don't think there can be a chance that I failed, considering I passed everything else. So even if this comes back as a fail because I haven't gone too academic, I'm not failing it because of that. But I'm sure that's not happened. It's a full assignment. It's done. I've ticked all the boxes of everything they've asked for, jumped through all of the hoops, made sure that it's as good as it possibly can. So put that to bed. Done. Dusted. Fabulous. You can get back on with all of the other things that I am doing. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is that a while back we sold our flat, and I was like, yeah, we're now going to get investing and we're going to be buying, buying, buying. Can I tell you a little bit of a something that I've been feeling a bit of imposter syndrome about and a little bit guilty is the fact that I've not actually had time to go out and buy us another investment because I've been focusing really heavily on growing the members club. So instead, what I've been doing is I've been loaning my money to other investments. So I've kind of indirectly been investing in property. Um, but I haven't actually bought anything for us just yet because, quite frankly, life seems to be getting in the way. So instead, whenever a member comes to me and they say, "Hey Natasha, I've got this cool project," I think, "Oh, I might get involved in this," and then I lend a little bit of money on that. I've been looking at some of my other colleagues' developments and getting involved with those and doing the deal analysis and lending a little bit of money there. Um, so rather than actually right now be buying something myself, I'm just popping my money in investments and I'll take that back out at a later date and buy something. I've still got a good 50 grand set aside to buy something for us. I just haven't had a in-depth look at that. So in the meantime, I'm lending my money at 9% per annum, which is is quite good. It's a little bit of a discount for people whose deals I'm like, hell yes. Um, some of it's more, some of it is at 18% per annum. It really varies, and I just put £5,000 to £10,000 in each deal, and then that's for, it could be for a 6 month period, it could be for a 12-month period, it could be for anywhere in between, and then I collect interest on that on a monthly basis. So it's a little bit of a return. It's a nice way of doing it so far. The other thing that I've had a lot going on is one of my flats, the head leaseholder is about to go through an externals project. You have no idea how much of my time that's taking up because the emails that come through on a daily basis from the other leaseholders asking me to confirm things, honestly, it's got kind of to the stage where I'm like, okay. And then this morning I found myself going through a service charge budget for the managing agents because they hadn't been able to put that together properly, reading the leases, making sure people were being charged the right thing. And you may say to me, Natasha, it's not your job. It's their job to get it right. Well, at the end of the day, I'd be paying the bill if they get it wrong, or I'd be having to drag myself through leasehold tribunal. I really can't be bothered. Really can't be bothered. I would rather just go, hey guys, look, I know how to do this stuff. I've been trained in it for however long. I teach it. Give me your service charge budget. Let me have a look through and let me give you my advice on how I would do it. Now, they get to choose whether they take it or leave it, but I know that I've done it properly because I've been doing service charge budgets and collecting service charges for the past 10 years. And do you know what also I understand completely is that I could do a service charge budget and then I'd go, oh, actually, this might not have added up right. So I give it to a colleague and I say to them, hey, you add it up right. So I completely get it that this managing agent might not have got it right first time as well. So I'm happy to almost be that friendly peer reviewer of the service charge because I know what I'm doing. The other thing is just taking a step back from my own personal perspective is that I would quite like to buy the freehold of this building. The only way that I'm going to be able to buy the freehold of this building is if the head leaseholder buys the freehold first. And the freeholder is really reluctant to sell the head leaseholder their share of the freehold. Why? I can't quite get to the bottom of it, considering the head leaseholder offered 40 grand above market value. Again, I do not get involved in that. That for me was a bit like, okay, obviously you felt like you had no negotiation power. And I can't, it's a bit of a conflict of interest for me to get involved in that. But at the back of my mind, I'm thinking if we do this service charge budget properly, there is going to be quite high liability for the freeholder, because the way this works, bear with me, is that although the freeholder looks after the structure of the building and the roofs, it's actually the head leaseholder's responsibility to do the works and recharge it back to the freeholder. That's what the head lease says. I've been through the head lease and I can confirm that. So it's not a straightforward head lease. Um, and so what I'm trying to do is make sure that in the service charge budget, there's a high enough amount of works being billed to the freeholder. So the freeholder goes, oh, wow, I'm not paying this amount of money. And so then the head leaseholder can go to the freeholder and say, well, I tell you what, I'll pay for the service charge on your behalf. And then from that point of view, I'll also buy it off of you, so you don't ever have to have that service charge liability again. So it's kind of in my favor for doing that, because the head leaseholder has said that once they buy the freehold, they are going to be selling it on to the leaseholders. So it's worth my while getting involved. It takes a long time to get these things worked out, but also it'd be nice having a new roof on, having new windows, having an externals project. We've been saving for this for the last however many years, so it's not really as if it's going to cost me a huge amount of money. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a bill for 10 to 15 grand. I'm not. The maximum this bill is going to be is £2,000, but actually from the service charge budget I've now created, it's probably going to be somewhere around £1,000. So there we go. That is the complicated nature of that deal, but I'm doing it for a reason, to give myself leverage so that I can buy the freehold, and that will add a lot of value to that flat. I've also got it in mind that then when I pass that on to my kids, if I have kids in a few years' time, they don't ever have to worry about extending the lease or what have you. So really, I'm future-proofing it, and I've spent a lot of time doing that. And it just so happened that this all came up at the same time. The other thing that's really exciting is I've got a lot of members who are buying properties at the moment. I've got a portfolio in Coventry going through, a portfolio in Newport going through, a couple of properties in Stoke going through, and these are all commercial and residential. We've got some property, one member's doing deals in Sheffield, another member is doing some deals in Milton Keynes, and I'm overseeing all of that as part of the members club. And I get so excited by this, because they email me and they're like, hey Natasha, this is almost working, or if it's not quite working, we tweak it a little bit and get them moving forward. I love that. I love that role of my job. And so I've been spending a lot of time on that as well, making sure they get the right funding. And of course, if there is deals that I want to invest in, I offer to invest in it. So it's kind of the best of all possible worlds, but I've got a lot of plates spinning right now. And as I said at the start, I was feeling a bit guilty about that, because I'd kind of thought, come on, Natasha, kick on, like keep building your property portfolio. And I've personally not come up, or in the limited time that I've had to search for things, found anything that makes me go, oh, this is worth me pursuing. So instead, I'm working with my clients and my members, and helping them to investing in them if I feel it's appropriate or they need the money. Some of them don't need the money. And that's what I'm doing right now. So lots going on. Apologies for bombarding you with a freeholder, head leaseholder spiel. I'm always involved in these things. I quite like it because it's meaty, and I also have the strategic brain for it. That's my kind of property deals that I like. And other people say I'm never getting involved in leasehold at all. Hell no. And that's fine. That's completely up to you. I personally like it. I do like the intricacies of it. I'm excited to see what the government do later on this year, based upon the national leasehold scandal. People are really fighting for leaseholds to be taken away. So we'll see what happens with that, but for now, that is the meaty project that I'm involved in. Here's something else I'm working on, and I really really wanted to share this with you because I am so excited about it. Over the last few weeks, I have been putting together the property investment success cycle. Sounds like a lot of words, but my gosh, it is, from my experience, the exact steps that each property investor needs to go through in order to keep growing their portfolio. And I'm about to merge this in with the members club because the whole idea is that each of these 6 stages, once you've mastered them all, you'll be able to keep buying your property portfolio and growing it. And I wanted to share it with you here so you can start to see the steps that you need to go through as well to grow that property portfolio. So, step one of the property investment success cycle is your goals. That is the very first place that you need to start. No matter what your experience is with property investment, you must start here. It's important to understand your goals and pinpoint exactly what you're looking to achieve financially and how you want your lifestyle to look. Because once you have got that down, you can then start creating your strategy. So that leads you on to step 2, strategies to success. This is where you use your goals and you start creating those stepping stones between where you are today and where you want to get to when you hit your goals. And to do that, you just break your goals down into really actionable steps. So it's not being overwhelmed with the amount of money you might need to do this. It's not being overwhelmed with the fact that you might not have the resources. No, it's making it so that it's completely actionable for you. Then number 3, you move on to the money and finance part of it, which most people always talk to me about. Natasha, hey, I don't have the money to do this right now, or this, that, and the other. That's cool. That's fine. All you need to do is take your strategy and go, okay, I need X amount of money. Say you need £20,000 or £30,000. You can then start going through where you're going to get this from. Are you going to get it from equity you've already got? Maybe you've got savings. Maybe you're going to be using investors or joint venture partners or other forms of sourcing the money. I've just had one of my members buy a portfolio off of her parents, and her parents have left some of the money in it as a gift to her so that she can afford to get the mortgage on it, and then within 5 years she's got a repayment plan in place so that it's completely paid off. There are so many different ways of doing this. It's about being creative and looking at what you've got and what you can get a hold of. Then, moving on to step 4, it's all about finding the perfect property, the property that suits your goals and your strategy. And that could be HMOs, that could be buy-to-lets, that could be serviced accommodation, that could be commercial. It could be a mixture of all of them. It's about getting down exactly what you've got in your goals and your strategy, knowing you know how to get the money for it, and then from there, going out and finding that property. And that includes the location, the size, making sure it's getting the net income that you want, and making sure it's in the right location that you want, because that's also super important. Then number 5, management and letting. So this is about holding the property. This is what you're going to do with it. And included within your management is also going to be things like renovations, redevelopment. It's basically that period of time when you own the property. So you need to be looking at exactly how you are going to manage it and maintain it so you are making the most amount of income from your property portfolio. And that can be done really simply. It's not something where you have to be in your property investment portfolio all the time, 7 days a week, 24/7. It's about you picking and choosing what works for you based upon those goals you set in your lifestyle. So you might be building a team. Maybe you are doing some of it yourself. Maybe, I don't know, you have a call handling service, or you have a virtual assistant or someone to help you. But it's about developing a management and letting and even a selling strategy that works for you and falls in line with the goals of your property portfolio. And then finally, you move on to step 6, and that's growth and legacy building. And this is where you look at the assets that you've got and you do a review. You go, okay, how does this work at the moment? Does this meet my goals? Is there a place where I can maximize on this investment more? Increase the rent, maybe increase the capital value. Maybe the value of the property has gone up. So actually you could remortgage and you can use that equity. It's about looking at what you've got and seeing how you can maximize it. And that's really, really important. Actually, I'm doing this with my mom at the moment. She's got a bungalow on a plot of land which could get about 3 houses in. And so I'm looking at it with her of how do we get planning permission on that? Would it be feasible for her to do this, or should she sell it on with planning permission? Again, it's something that we're in the initial stages of discussion on, but there is always room to improve what you've got. And that is what the growth and legacy building is all about. And then you just go around the cycle again and again and again. And every time that property portfolio gets bigger and bigger and bigger, or doesn't necessarily have to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Maybe you just consolidate until you've got an unencumbered portfolio that is bringing you in a really nice income that you can live on. And so that is the property investment success cycle. And then for each one of those stages, I break that down into different packages which take no more than 60 minutes to do. So very, very, very simple. And I ask you a question. For example, do you know where you're getting your next deposit from? If the answer is no, then there's a package for you. You can then clearly map out where you're getting the money for your next property, which means that actually you can keep moving forward and you can keep taking action. And so there's this questionnaire that you can keep going through whenever you're stuck, so you don't have to be overwhelmed by the material that I provide you in the members club. You can simply go, oh, today I'm stuck on this question. I'm going to do this package. And as I said, 60 minutes and it goes. You can absorb it all and you can put it into practice. So I am super excited about that. And just to confirm those 6 steps of the success cycle again. So number 1, figure out your goals. Number 2, you then need to put your strategy in place. Number 3, you need to make sure you understand where you're getting your money and your finance from. Number 4, then it's all about finding the perfect property time after time, no matter what sort of property you want to be investing in. Number 5, it's all about management and letting. How are you holding the property for the period that you own it? And then finally, number 6, what's your growth strategy? What legacy are you leaving? How do you continue to build on what you've got to make sure that it is hitting your goals? So those are the stages that you need to work through as you are building your property portfolio. And I'd love to hear from you. Out of those 6 stages, which stage do you think you are at? Give me a number between 1 and 6. Let me know where you are. And you can do that in the comment section in this podcast, whatever podcast platform you're listening on. Or if you're reading this via the blog, you can simply put a comment underneath. I would love to hear from you. So that's everything that I've got going on right now. And I hope this is useful and it's given you food for thought. There's always different things to think about, and especially when you're doing your property investment journey, it's nice to break it down into stages, because if you think about getting from your goals to where you want to be all at once, it's like, oh my gosh, this is never going to happen for me. It's going to take so long. The minute you start breaking that down into steps and then actionable items, so action steps that you can do really, really easily, that is when you start seeing progress, and that is when you start creating your own success. And if you want to dive into that deeper, I'm going to let you into a little bit of a secret. This month, this June, I am going to be opening the members club again on a new improved platform. I cannot wait to share it. It looks so good right now. I'm so excited. This is the thing that keeps me up at night working. I love it. My gosh, I cannot get enough of putting this together, and it's so accessible. So no matter where you are on your property investment journey, whether you've got 0 properties, you're going to be buying that first one, or whether you've got 100 properties, it really doesn't matter. There is something in there for you. So I am going to put the link below for the waiting list so that you can get on that first. And as soon as the door opens, you can come and jump straight in. There we have it. That's today's podcast. Thank you for joining me today. And if you want to find out any more information, head on over to www.ncrealestate.co.uk. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so that you get it every Tuesday morning. And I would love it if you could give it a 5-star review. I want to hear what you love about this podcast. That would be awesome. Thank you for joining me today. I cannot wait to catch up with you again soon.